will fight for you. And he will always fight for you. And the Bible in our text records that God has said to Moses, you tell the nation of Israel, you've come out of Egypt. You've come out of Egypt and now you're headed towards Canaan. And as you have come out of Egypt, and as you are headed towards Canaan, I want you to remember this. I do not want you to do after the Egyptians. I do not want you living like the Egyptians. And then he says to them, and then you go into Canaan. I do not want you living like how the Canaanites are living. I want you to know that the land has spewed out the Egyptians for the way they have lived. And the land of Canaan has will spew out and has spewed out the nations that were there before you. And I don't want you living like them. I don't want you doing the abominable things that the Canaanites have done. Listen, may I make that applicable? God doesn't want us living like our past. He doesn't want us still wallowing in sin. He doesn't want us lying and cheating. You know why? We're special to him. You're special to God. If no one has ever told you you're special to God. The nation of Israel was special to God. The Bible tells us that the nation of Israel is referred to as the apple of God's eyes. They're special to him. They're dear to him. He calls them the apple of his eyes. Not only are they special to God, but you and I are special to God. On that precious day, over 30 plus years ago, I bowed my head and invited Jesus Christ into my heart and invited Jesus Christ into my life. And on that special day, the Bible says, he came unto his own, but his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. So on May 31st, when I bowed my hell-deserving head, I deserved hell. I deserved to be punished for all eternity. But when I bowed my hell-deserving head, Jesus Christ came into my heart. And Jesus Christ took up room in a board in my life. And he lives within my heart for over 30 plus years now. I have been serving him. I gave him my heart. I have no regrets. The only regret is I wish I had done it a lot earlier. Listen, he's always stood by me. There's never been a time when I've not been able to talk to my sweet Jesus. Brother Wilton stood up here and he told you about times when we talk sometimes twice a day, 3 times a day. But you know something? There are times when I can't reach him. There are times when I can't get him. There are times when I'm burdened and I want that human fellowship. I want a fellowship with him. But you know what? I can't reach him. Sometimes he tells me you couldn't reach me because my phone was dead. But you know what? There's never been a time I've tried to reach Jesus in all these years that I've never been able to get a hold of him. He's always stood by my side. He's been a friend above friends. And I love him dearly because, listen, he's the best friend in all the world. Listen, young people, there's no greater friend than my friend Jesus. Sometimes I get up even now as a 57-year-old man and I'm walking to the bathroom. And I get to the bathroom and he talks to me and he says, talk to me. And I take some time and I talk with him. And I tell him how much I love him. Because you know what? I'm special to him. He's precious to me. And Jesus ought to be precious to you. Listen, the Bible says he refers to the nation of Israel as the apple of his eye. But you know, he has some things to say about me. He calls me his son. In 1 Timothy and Titus 2:14, he says, who gave himself for us. Isn't that wonderful? He loves me. If I was the only person on the face of the earth, Jesus would have died for me. Titus, Paul, through the inspiration of the scriptures, writes to young Titus and tells him, who gave himself for us, that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify himself a peculiar people, zealous of good work. The Bible calls us a peculiar people. The Bible calls us a chosen generation. The Bible calls us a royal priesthood. The Bible calls us a holy nation. The Bible says that me, as a child of God, I am special to Him. And young people tonight, I'm telling you, you're special to God. Listen, God doesn't want to use you and then kick you to the curb. That's what the drug dealers want to do. That's what the drunkards and the harlots want to do. They want to take the best of you, use the best of you, and then kick you to the curb. Listen, I can stand here tonight, and for a lack of not being for lack of not being sensitive, I will not begin to call the names of stars that I know, that, like Brother Wilton said, that started in church, and then I get the opportunity to watch their funeral and shake my head and say, oh, what a waste of life. They could have given it to Jesus. And so young people, I'm telling you, give Jesus your very best. He saved you. And so he's telling Moses that you tell the nation of Israel, you tell the apple of my eye, don't live like Egypt. You've been saved from the world, young people. And so it's time you live. Listen, what I'm telling you is what Pastor Adams told me. I have no doubt in my mind that I would not be standing here tonight and telling you that I'm the father of 4 children. I would not be standing here tonight to tell you that I've been married to one woman for 34 years consecutively, not broken. 34 long years. You said, that's a long time. That's longer than many of you, maybe all of you, have been alive. You know why? Because I listened to Pastor Adams. I've never been to jail. I've never been strung on drugs. I've never smoked. I live a clean life. You know why, young people? Because I listened to the pastor as he preached the book. I have no regrets. Why? Because I don't listen to my friends because they don't know nothing. I listen to Jesus. I listen to the Bible. How could you tell me about a life that you've never experienced? And so God is telling Moses, you tell the nation of Israel, don't live like they lived when they're in Egypt. And I'm telling you tonight, young people, don't live like the way you lived before you knew Jesus. Now that you know Jesus, serve Him with all your heart. Now that you know Jesus, serve Him with all your might. Now that you know Jesus, serve Him with all your strength. You will not regret it. Give Him your best. And now that you're saved, Israel is marching towards Canaan. And God says, Moses, you tell them, don't live like the Canaanites. Don't live like the Canaanites. They're in the land, but the land is about to spew them out. Don't live like them. Don't live like some of these people who say they're Christians and they're not. They call themselves prophets. They call themselves miracle workers. They call themselves healers. I've never been to the hospital. In all my life of serving Jesus, I've never been to the hospital with a prophetess. And I'm not being mean or nasty, young people, but you can pick up the phone and call me. Tell Brother Wilton to call him and tell him, yes, find one. I challenge you. Find one prophetess. Find one miracle worker. Find one fake healer who has gone into the Princess Margaret Hospital or the doctor's hospital and walked on the side of a man or woman and said, get up, let's go. Find one, not two, one. Find one that has gone into the morgue. Find one that has gone into the morgue and say, come, let's go, get up that gurney. Get up. You can't find one. Get in the book. So you better don't do. The day people want everything that they see in the world, they want in the church, but we're different people. We make no apologies for that. Jesus is telling the nation of Israel. He's telling Moses, tell them don't live like the way they lived in Egypt. And now they're going to Canaan. Don't live like the way the Canaanites live. Don't worry, you're not the majority. There are many of us. There are many people who believe like us. I got friends who believe the same thing I believe, who preach the same way I preach, who feel the same way I preach. So don't let nobody make you feel inferior. But listen to me when I say to you, don't live like the Canaanites. Live like the people of God. You are a holy people. You are to show forth the praises of God as young people. Don't be ashamed of him in your classrooms. Open your mouth. Don't be ashamed of him at lunchtime and break time. Don't be ashamed of him. Let them know that you are saved. Let them know that you are born again. Don't tell me I've been in schools and I know how timid you might be. You don't want to start up because you think they're going to laugh at you. But let them laugh. I promise you. I go to a church with a young lady right now. She's been saved longer than me. We went to high school together. Her name is Bonnie Knowles, Catherine Knowles. And we called her Bonnie all my days of knowing her in high school. You know what? As an unsaved teenager, you couldn't touch Bonnie. You couldn't do foolishness with Bonnie. Everybody in school knew that Bonnie was a Christian. Every boy, every girl knew that she loved Jesus. She wasn't loud, she wasn't boisterous, she wasn't bigoted, but everybody knew she was a Christian. Everybody knew she took church serious. All of us knew she went to church. All of us knew she read a Bible. And she wasn't making noise, you know. She just made a difference. She was different. Amen. Today, she's still serving Jesus. Amen. Amen. I see her just about every Sunday at church, still serving Jesus. You can serve Jesus because he will never, ever leave you. I promise you that I wouldn't keep you long. I could keep you long now. But I promise you I wouldn't keep you long. I'm going to tell you a couple of things and then we're done. There's a reason why our murder count in the Bahamas is over 71. You're from the Turks and Caicos. You're where we were years ago. You understand me? Understand what I mean by that? I've been to Grand Turk. I've taught kids. If I start calling some of the kids' names from Grand Turk, from Provo and the positions they hold in Provo, I taught them. I taught Alvin Parker. I taught Toriano Williams. I taught him. I taught Ira Taylor. I taught all of them. You know all of them, right? I taught all of them. When my mother-in-law died a couple of years, this is the impact we've had of them from church and God. When church and the Bible, when my mother-in-law died in November, all of them flew to the Bahamas. All of them. I talked to them daily. I was the father figure that they didn't have. I took them to church with me. Turks Island is they don't like when I say Turks Island. The Turks and Caicos is where we were years ago. I grew up I went to Andros. And the young people laughed when she said, "You're the parent." And that's what the problem is. I'm headed somewhere. You know why we have 71 murders? You know why a young man is sleeping with a 12-year-old boy? You know why a father is sleeping with his daughter in incest? It's wrong. It's ungodly. He should be whipped. They should lace him with honey and put him in the middle of the square and let the ants get him. Yes. You know why a mother would sleep with a son and an uncle would sleep with his niece? You know why there's bestiality? You know why we are having so much problems? I heard a politician ask and say, how do we stop these murders? What's going on in our land? I'll tell you what's going on, young people. We have a breakdown in family structure. There is an all-out attack on the family. What is the problem? We have babies having babies. I grew up in Andros. I walked from the bluff South Andros, the High Rock, to go to the primary school every day. When I went to Andros from Freeport, I used to wear tennis. The children in Andros went to school barefoot, so I started going to school barefoot. So I walked to school, and when I walked from the bluff South Andros to Johnsontown, I had to tell everybody, good morning. I had to say, good morning, Auntie Sue. Good morning, Cousin Sue. Good morning, Uncle Ara. Good morning, Uncle. That's all it is. And guess what? It was not until I was a grown man that I realized them people wasn't even my cousins. They wasn't even my auntie and uncle. But they would beat the tar out of you if you did not speak to them. We were better people when your young people didn't run the home. When mom and dad ran the home, we were better. When y'all didn't tell us when y'all going to church. When we told y'all Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Wednesday in this house, you go to church. I told my children, I make no apologies for it. This is one of my bestest friend in all the world. I have a 30-year-old who's a medical doctor. I have a son who's a kinesiologist. I have a third son who's studying health. And then I have a 16-year-old right now in Dallas playing basketball. 3 of them don't live home. I have never, from the time they left home on a Sunday morning, said to them, let's go to church. They get up, get dressed, and come. We were better when mom and dads ran the homes. We are under attack because we've given the responsibility of rearing the home to the children and to everybody else, to the television, to the phone, to the iPads. They're raising our children. Every little child, like the mummy said, every little child got one of them things in their face. And I'm not against technology. I'm not against the advancement of technology. I will not be hypocritical. My 16-year-old have a phone. But at 10 o'clock, it's in my bedroom. It's my phone. My money paid for it. It's my room. I buy the food. I pay the light bill and the water bill. Don't tell me nothing about, oh, this is a new generation. It's a new generation when you pushing your own key. My kids cannot, see, I sensible. My kids can't lock their bedroom. No, they can't lock my doors. They're my doors. I have a girl. I'm sensible. I'm respectful. I don't go barging into my daughter's room. You got 3 knocks, then I coming in. I don't go barging into my 16-year-old room. I knock. You got 3 knocks, and then I'm coming in. I give you your respect, but you can give me mine too. I respect in you, and you respect in me. When we had family structure, what influenced me? A man from South Andrews. Didn't have a high school education. But he feared God. So every morning before he went to church, we didn't have much. It was 8 of us, 8 boys, and we all slept in one bed. 2 sisters at that time. And every morning he would get up to leave to go to work at Lusco, Lucayan Service Company. He was a supervisor then. Before he would leave, he would get up at 5 o'clock. And one by one, he'd put his hands on his boys and he'd say, oh God, bless my boys today. Bless this one. Keep him from evil. Protect him. Watch over him. And then he'd go wherever the girls were sleep, 2 girls were sleeping, and he'd put his hands on them and he'd pray over them. He had no problem whipping your tail so you would learn to take him serious. But that's the kind of homes we grew up in. That's why we don't rob banks. That's why we're not shooting one another down in the streets. He taught us the value and respect for life. He taught us what true respect is, not what you think it is. They taught us conflict resolution in a funny way. Brothers don't fight. You fought, they gave each of you a switch and made you tear up each other. And the first one cried, got another beating. Telling you brothers don't fight. They taught us conflict resolution. They taught us to respect people, respect life, respect people's property. We didn't pull guns to solve our problems. We talked about them. There's a problem why there's a reason why we're facing what we're facing. We were better off without Facebook. We were better off without the telephones. Now they're the technology, and I guess every good thing, they have their value, and I think that there's an abuse of it, but you better be careful. I don't want to go back to use it. I'm not saying let's go back to the old life of using I don't want to use no outdoor toilet. I don't want to take water from the pump. All I'm saying is, listen, we need to understand the problems we're facing in our nation. It's family structure being eroded. Listen, you have weak families, you have weak society. You have weak family, you have a weak church. Before God established the church, he established a family. Family. We're facing the problems we're facing. And we are counting on you young people. We're counting on you girls to marry godly Christian young men that will not beat you like a pulp. And we're counting on you young men to be good fathers, be good citizens, be great providers for your wife and your children, and to treat them with respect. We're counting on you. Our nation, our church, we need you. Our God needs you. The problem and why we're having so much problems in our society is because we're watching these first world countries and their influence on us, trying to tell us what family is. Well, I know what family is from the Word of God. It's really clear. Watch these perversion of families, and that's what is killing us. An attack on the family. And so, let me tell you, young people, when we lose the family, we're in trouble. The land will spew us out. What you see happening on almost a daily basis in the New Providence, my God, it's almost frightening to listen to the news on this island. And you know what? The whole world thinks New Providence is the Bahamas. Because as soon as you go crazy over here killing everybody you all want to kill, they say it's the whole Bahamas. The time little Auckland's ain't got nobody dead yet.
That's right. That's right.
In Cricket Island, in Meguana, or in Inagua, all they want to do is chase flamingo. They have no time to killing one another. And eat our smoke thing. They have no time for that. But the whole Bahamas is being blamed because an attack on the family. And let me tell you, when we turn our back on God and we don't listen to God, you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is exactly what we see happening. We will begin to experience the fury of God. The land will spew us out. And I know I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say the whole Bahamas, but because what happens in New Providence will eventually spread. You check it out scripturally. It will spread to the city, and it will spread to the country, and it will spread to all the other areas. And so the entire Bahamas will be impacted. And so when that happens, the land will begin to spew us out. Our land will become bloody and defiled, contaminated. And what we are seeing right now, and the answer is no politician can help us. The answer is in Jesus. What stops me from going out there and killing somebody? What stops me from going out there and robbing a bank? What stops me from going out there raping and murdering and doing some of these things? I tell you what, Jesus. Listen, young people, they can say whatever they want to say about the church. Call the church every name they want to call us. You hear me? Call us Christians, whatever name they want to call us. Disrespect us all they want. But I'll tell you one thing. They better raise their hand to heaven and thank God for the church. Because if it wasn't for the church, can you imagine what all of us would be doing if there was no church tonight and we didn't have no God and they want to kick God out if there was no God? They think it bad now. It would be horrible.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Instead of some of us robbing and being in the presence of a court, we're on our knees praying for our nation and praying for our people. But we're experiencing the fury of God. And so anytime you see a murder in the streets of New Providence, you got to know God is angry. God is angry. God is angry with the wicked, not some days. God is not angry with the wicked on Monday. He's not angry with them on Tuesday. He's angry with the wicked every day. Can you imagine? Every day God is angry with the wicked. People that are doing wrong. And listen, we are experiencing the fury of God. The land is bloody. And my heart aches when I see a young man covered with a sheet. Tell me what kind of madness is going on in the land when you have to take a gun and riddle somebody's body with 32 shots. What is going on up here? Listen, we were better when we feared God. And I want to tell you tonight that righteousness still exalts a nation. Right now, righteousness today, right now, righteousness still exalts a nation. And sin today is still a reproach to any people. Young people, you hear me? Every last one of you ought to be, at some point, ought to be interested. If you're a girl, at some point you ought to be interested in a boy. Not a girl, a boy. And at some point, all you boys ought to be interested in a girl. That's how we continue this thing. That's how we get more babies and more children. That's how the family continues. Girls, don't let nobody tell you but no being interested in no girl. No, God ain't make you that way. No. Don't let a boy tell you but ain't being interested in no boy. No. 10,000 times no. But you want a godly man. You hear me, girls? Don't laugh. You want a godly man. Get your education. Keep it all in perspective. Trust Jesus. Get your education. And when you finish getting your education, you serve the Lord and let God bring you a godly man. Young men, get a godly wife. He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. So we are counting on you. I want to give you a news flash. One of you young men, someday, one of you young boys gonna have to fill his shoes. He's living in his last century. You know how many more years in this century? Anybody? 76? Right before we hit 2100? 76. He's what, 57? 58. You think he can live 76 more years? I mean, that's being real. Somebody's going to have to fill his shoes. Pastor's older than him. Somebody's going to have to fill pastor's shoes. Somebody's going to have to fill Brother Kwame's shoes. Somebody, someday, is going to have to stand up here and do the games, and do the bamboo, and the cookies, and the Oreos. Somebody's going to have to do that. He's counting on you. But more importantly, God is counting on you, because he has no hands but your hands, young people. He has no eyes but your eyes, young people. He has no feet but your feet, young people. God is counting on you. He's counting on you to fill the shoes that are going to be left. If you don't, then what? He's counting on you. Don't take these things for granted. Listen, don't follow what you see other people do. Fear God. You hear me? His fury could be poured out any moment. And we're experiencing it even now. Heads bow, eyes closed. I want to ask you a question. Only you looking around, I ask you a question. How many of you in here this morning would say, I'm saved? This evening would say, I'm saved. I know if I died today, I would go to heaven. Heaven is my home, no doubt about it. Would you raise your hand? You say, I'm saved. I'm born again. I'm a Christian. I'm a